Hello, the game has started. It's my opponent to go first. I've got a very non-bingo rack, but I do have a couple of vowels, so probably worth playing through. I could play fizz, or zip, or fizz, P-H-I-Z. That would leave the best rack leave, I think. Not looking for any particular floaters. Now, well, win takes a number of post hooks, but fizz doesn't play in column 10 and doesn't play anywhere on the board, which is a shame. None of my tiles go after win. The T does go in front. So I could play zit, keeping all three of my big tiles. That doesn't feel great. What about doing hipped instead? Let me see what this scores. The Z is a nice tile. That's 18 points. This is 39. I'm going with the points. I was just wondering whether to stick an I on the end of zit, but I think that just opened up column 5 and I had a non-bingo rack. Plus it was my only vowel. Now I've drawn another couple of vowels, so this is a balanced rack, even though it's very non-bingo-y. But I should be able to make inroads into this rack. I've got hippo, which plays in column 7. Twin doesn't take anything I've got. Hippo also plays in row G. The rack leave of UF is awful. So I could play poof, P-O-U-F. That would play in row G. Leave a slightly nicer rack leave. I've got 4 scoring tiles, which explains why the rack is so non-bingo-y. Zit takes E, I and S at the end. Twin takes E, K and S and Y. Now view takes a Y, so that's a hot spot. V doesn't take anything either side, so no parallel plays in columns 9 or 11. So my poof spot has been taken. I'm not seeing another. Hippo takes an S in front. So what about playing Pafui? Rack leave pretty good. P and H do have synergy. 25 points pretty good. Yep, I'm going with this. Wow, just the solitary vowel. So my racks have been so far away from being a bingo-y. So often you think, well, if just one tile was different, but that's not been the case with these racks. However, I still have a slender lead. Now, I have flocks on my rack, P-H-L-O-X and F-L-O-X. Neither plays at the moment. Zitty takes an S at the end. Row H not particularly hot because a big tile can't go on the double letter square. Now, does opponent have the Y? There are 2 of them. Well, I don't think they had it last turn, otherwise they would have played it. And they've only drawn 3 tiles. This is going to be a tricky rack to play with if opponent just makes a 3-letter play or 4-letter play in row H. Oh, wow, they don't. Super bingo, 59 points. Ruralise takes a D. I've got one. But Phlox doesn't have an E. So I do have, I think Phlox is good. That would play here, 27 points. Twined is good. So I think the best I can do here is fold. 26 points, not great. And the rack leave is okay if I draw vowels. It would be nice to play off one more tile on this turn, but I'm not seeing a way of doing that. Is fold the play? I think it is. I'm going with this. Wow, so grim. And there is a U in the open, which is nice to see when you've got a Q, but not when you have no other vowels because it's unplayable. I think the time has come to change. Opponent leads by 7 and on turn. So I'm not in good shape. And this viewy spot's still available. But the board not awash with opportunities for opponent. So they may be able to play, and I won't be too far behind after I change. So what will I change? How many? Well, we don't see the remaining pool since there are still 61 tiles. I'm not quite sure when the pool appears. It's either at 60 or 50. But I think the issue here is whether to change all 7 or keep just a T. And I'm minded to change all 7 since there are 2 blanks unseen. Yep, just 21 points for opponents. They provide nothing, so I am changing. And I'm changing the lot. And if only I'd kept the T, I would have had overeat, which plays in column 11, but I didn't. Okay. So I'm probably going to be awash with vowels for the remainder of the game. Now I have Evoe in row H for a decent score. No bingo here. There are some 5 vowel 8s, but I don't think any with these 7 tiles. And I also dodged the Ys. Now we can see the remaining pool, so I think they do kick in when there are fewer than 60 in the bag. Do I have anything better than Evoe in row H? And I would like to play a 4-letter play rather than a 3-letter play. Oh well, opponent takes out that spot. So on to plan B, which has not yet been formalised. Evoe burns, well, it burns both E's, but there are quite a lot to come. What about playing down here? 19 points. Sets up 2 hot spots, which is good since I trail. There's a bingo lane in column 12 and there's a hot spot for 4-letter plays. Evoe does not take an S. There's also a bingo lane in row L and row C. But is this best? What would be my best rack leave? EAR. That would mean playing OOVE, OOVE. I've got Fauvere in column 5. Is Twiner good? Well, I'm not seeing anything. I have Rove, but that keeps 3 vowels, and you can see there are a lot to come. Not seeing any extensions of fold. What about playing Evoe down here? 19 points. Yeah, the same score, and I like this. It's not providing anything great for opponent, but it is creating a new lane. I'm going with this. Pretty good. Finally, a balanced looking rack. I have a lot, which plays in row M, if it's good. And I think it is. I think it takes a P in front, and it remains available. Fantastic. So let's see if Twiner is good. I think this will score more down here. But it does take an S. But this is 78 points. And 65, it's 13 more points if this is good. And it is. Fantastic. Well, I dodge all of the S's and there are still 3 to come and 2 blanks. Am I going to pay the price? Quite a nice pickup. Not seeing a 7. What about he mine as a 7? What about he mine? Wow, I don't think this is good. I don't think this is good. Nope. So, still a nice set of tiles. Could there be a bingo? Not seeing a 7. What about the R? 14 minutes on my clock. Not seeing anything with the R. The T's just been taken. L not available. Another R. What about the P? No. So, how about playing in row O? And can I get value from the X? My I can go after it. Hemi not good. Gosh, I hope I'm not missing a 7 here. I trail by 40. Extirp takes an S. That's a hot spot, even without a bingo. Well, what about doing He-Min? Getting the H doubled for 47 points. I'm going with this. And I draw a Y, an S rather. I have Uzi in column 15. Plus loads of vowels, and I've got a Y for Viewy. Fantastic, although I am going to struggle to play off any vowels with that, which is less fantastic. Interesting situation. If the extirp spot remains available, do I burn the Y with Uzi? Or do I play Ooze, hanging on to the Y for Viewy? I think I play the Y. So, wow, I've crept into the lead, but only by 11 points, and the remaining pool pretty bingo-y. And I am not close to a bingo here. Now, another hot Y spot above the E of He-Min. Gosh, but I don't think I can play any of my O's in that with a play there. Unless I play just YO, which is keeping too many vowels. Yeah. I do have AYE, which might be worth considering. There's only one more O to come. And one of the big problems with double O is the risk of it becoming triple O. Wow, 47 points for He-Min. That's not bad at all. That's 2/3 of a bingo score. The Z has gone, so the E not as dangerous as it otherwise would be. I think Uzi is the play, having had a longer time to reflect on it. Just wondering if I have any Y something S plays in that spot. I don't think I do. I have I-As, but that doesn't get tripled. Opponent taking a while with this play. I feel I could be on the receiving end of a bingo. Quite a bingo-friendly board with the floating R, the S lane in columns 12 and 15. But I think, well, having 7-letter S lanes is the big deal for bingos, and with 2 S's and 2 blanks to come, the opponent could well be close. And this board isn't really able to be shut down, or is it? No, I don't think it is. I was just wondering if Twinery was good. But it does mean if opponent bingos that there will still be bingo lanes on the board. Although I think once opponents has bingoed, they may be in a position to close the board down, so I'm not in great shape despite leading. So is there anything I haven't considered? Yup is good. But it's the same issue with these O's. I think the only way I can get rid of O's with the Y and play more than a two-letter play is by playing Uzi. Just looking in column 3, if I can play vowels either side of the V, which I can do. I can play Avo, but it would be nice to get points from the J, and that would require O or A next to the J. Can't see a way of getting the O there. Now, opponents played just 19 points. Fantastic. This has changed the complexion of the game because I can get 40 for Uzi, and then the board remains massively open with columns 12 and 14, plus hotspots for Viewy and above the E. Uzi for 40. Great, I'm not swamped with vowels, but is there a bingo here? Wow, I don't think there is. Increase through an R, but that doesn't begin with an R. Resonance! Resonance! Good grief. I do have a playable bingo in column C. However, if opponent has a bingo, they may play it in column 12, they may block that, and I don't have a 7 that I can see. Oh, another floating R, but not available for increase or resonance. But, oh no, the other third anagram is Cinereas, but that also doesn't play. So, all of my eggs are in the resonance basket and opponent blocks it. Ouch. And another floating R, but not available for increase, Cinereas or resonance. So opponent plays Ritters for 71, retakes the lead, 16 tiles to come. I do have a spot for the C. So what about playing ENIAC? This turns over the maximum number of tiles, scores well, and I have my eye on the blank because there's this super bingo lane in column 14, and I'm not blocking that while I trail. And there are G's to come which go in front of Ritters, so I think I have to play here. The question is, do I play ENIAC or Cane, creating a new lane? But I think ENIAC turns over more tiles. I'm going with this. And I don't get the blank. And my lead only 3 points, so I'm not in a position to close the board down. I do have the Y for Viewy, so I have Yam. And I also have the Y for the E of Hemin, so I am going to get a 30-point play. But is opponent going to bingo? Always brutal when opponent plays back-to-back bingos because there's such an element of luck in that. In that 7 random tiles do create a playable bingo. The remaining pool not looking as bingo-y as it did before. Let me count the remaining bout. Oh, an opponent bingos, back-to-back bingos, back-to-back blanks. And I think my goose is cooked. Only 4 tiles in the bag. Agony. So, what am I going to do? Is there any way back from this? Could opponent be Q stuck? 11 minutes on my clock. So, where can opponent play the Q? There's the eye of abating, the eye of critters, so they're not Q stuck. I could play gamed here for 50 points, retaining the Y for Viewy and the E of He-Men. Maybe this game isn't finished yet. Is this the play? And does this score more than gamed 2 higher up? So 10 minutes on my clock, which is a lot. This is also 50. Just wondering about the cue, because playing gamed lower down takes out one of the eye spots. Is that a good thing to do? This scores 50, so I'll be on 366, trailing by 11. I think I lose if I draw the cue. And the top eye is the preference, which neither of my column 15 options impact. What if opponent's got the U as well and plays through that? I think I'm going to play higher up. I think this is really marginal. So gamed for 50. And I dodge the cue. And I played higher up because it does restrict a play through the eye ending in last place, but that's a fairly minor point. So opponent's got cheese, QQIS, 24 points, but they've then got DEEKU. I don't think they're going out in one, in which case I get 2 more plays. In the first instance, do I have an out with this play? So column 1 ending in T. No. And, oh wow. Oh, and that's a spot gamed lower down would have blocked. Oh wow. And now opponent's got DKS, and of course that spot has taken out or impacted the Viewy spot. I can't score as much through that. Then that's the danger of overthinking. Okay. So I now trail by a lot. This game is lost. So I've got K here, or key, for 38. I'm probably going out with Sun, 8 minutes on my clock. Is this the play? 38 points, pretty decent. What's opponent doing with DSK? Well, they've got Kid. But what can I do with Sun? And are there any alternatives down here? I don't think so. I think playing the C and making CH is probably the best I can do with the C. I am going out with Sun. It's just a matter of whether there are any decent spots to score enough, and there won't be. Okay, I'm going with this. Let's not prolong the agony. So I trail by 17. Opponent's got a Kid in column 12. But they've also got disc through the eye, so it is all over. And skid through the eye. Wow, what would have happened if I'd played game to lower down? What would have happened? Well, it's possible I still would have been not the favourite, but I think queer was the killer blow. So 7 minutes on opponent's clock. Is it possible they don't play through that eye or they don't go out? I'm not seeing any super hot. Well, they do play that. And the final score, 404 to me, 445 to opponent, a winning margin of 41 points, so well done to opponent. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. Super stuff. And it was opponents go first with both W's. They play win. Tiz and Zit, similar plays, but Tiz perhaps better because it doesn't take any hooks. Opponent plays view. Now what do? I play Pafui for 25, keeping hop. Hippo for 1 fewer point I considered. Didn't like the S front hook, didn't like the rack leave, so I like my play. Terrific bingo by opponent with ruralize. And now I have this rack. I couldn't see anywhere for flocks, and there is somewhere. I3. Oh, with the P on the board. Okay, for 34 points. Horrible rack leave. I play fold for 26. Yeah. Flocks creates a very easy spot to score off the X, and the rack leave is horrible, so I like fold. Opponent's rack, pretty grim stuff, plays go. And this is my horror show, and I changed, and that's got to be best. Opponent plays Hui. Reeve, H11, and Twiner, okay. I play Evoe for 19, keeping Or, and I like my play. Or is only 11 points, or it is 11 points less than Reeve, but it's a much better rack leave than double O. Opponent plays Benj, and now I have Realot, which plays in 3 spots. So where I played it scores most, and then M4, Realot and Fur, I saw that. And then M5, oh no, Realot underneath the O, I didn't see that, I saw it underneath FE, but my placement was best. Opponent plays Extirp. Wow, I didn't realise that scored as much as it did. A bingo-y score with that rack. I have Heemin for 47. Great rack for opponent. And missed bingo. They played Tad for 19. H15. They had Tetrads for 89 points and a ton of other bingos. So a let off for me. Wow, I was just expecting Uzi to show up as best, and it's way down here. But the score and rack leave are better than everything above it, apart from this top play, N2 JC, for only 3 more points and keeping EOO. I like my play. Opponent bingos with Ritters. A few no miss bingo, and I play ENIAC for 42. And this was opponent's dream pick of 7 random tiles and only the solitary bingo. So they play a baiting, which pretty much secures the game. Now, Gamey D15 for 62 points. And I play Gamed. And I'm retaining the Y for Viewy and EY, which I like doing, but I did sacrifice 12 points. So neither of the gamed spots, and this is the move I'm only considered, actually appear in this list, but I think all of these plays burn the Y, which would explain their absence. The Y is usually a bad tile to retain, but I think in this instance it's a good one. And now, opponent's rack. They have Queer, which was a great spot, for 44 points. C10, Quids for 30, and probably going out with Eek. So I think my game was run, despite agonising over whether gamed could have been better played lower down. Now, my rack. And K looks best, and finally opponent goes out with disc, well, all the outs are through this eye of critters. So what a game, super exciting stuff in the balanced until right before the end, and then a great spot of queer to secure the win for opponent. So many congratulations to opponent on their victory. I hope you enjoyed watching that game. Like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time.